Starting a business isn't easy. There's a lot of paperwork you gotta do. You gotta register your name, you gotta figure out your state and local, yada yada. So, here's 6 things I did to start my art business. 1. Determine if I want to be an LLC or a sole proprietor. So, LLC stands for Limited Liability Company. This is a business entity that gives you some legal protection over your assets and has a more of a formal application process. This means that you're going to have to go through a little bit more paperwork and have to pay some additional fees just to make sure that your business is good to operate in your area. This tends to be a more higher cost because to set up your LLC, of course, you can do it yourself, but you can also hire companies to do that process for you. So it is what it is. Now, a sole proprietor is kind of the default label that you're given whenever you run a business on your own. And as far as I can tell, for Florida specifically, there's no formal paperwork that you have to do, and it tends to be a little bit cheaper to operate. In my case, I went sole proprietor because it felt like the more beginner friendly option to do, and it really just boiled down to filling out the specific forms and applications for like my state and county in order to make sure my business is good, which for the most part, a lot of that's been pretty straightforward and easy. Understanding it, that's a little bit of a different story, but nothing has been super crazy so far. 2. I got an EIN, which stands for Employee Identification Number. This number helps the IRS identify your business. You can kind of think of it as like a social security number for your business. Now, technically as a sole proprietor, you don't need this number. However, I went ahead and got one because I wanted to set up a business bank account, and most business bank accounts won't let you set up if you don't have an EIN number. So you might as well get one because you want like a separate bank account for your business stuff anyway. Also, since being a content creator is a part of my business, once I start participating in brand deals, sponsorships, and start signing up for various programs that can help increase my income stream, instead of giving those applications my social security number, I can give them the EIN number associated with my business instead. Because I don't know about y'all, but I ain't trying to give my social security number to every single program. Like, no thank you. So the application process is pretty simple. All you have to do is go to the IRS website, type in EIN number application, and go through that entire application process. It's simple and it's free to do. Now, one thing when you get to the end of that application process, make sure that you are documenting your confirmation numbers, that you're screenshotting the various confirmation pages, that you're writing down the EIN number that it gives you. And also there's going to be an option to download a PDF at the end where it's like, oh, here's like the PDF of like your EIN number and all that kind of stuff. Download it, save it, document it, print it, keep it in your files. Why? Because as far as I can tell, I did not get any type of confirmation email after I've done this process. Make sure you're on top of your stuff when you're getting this application done, because you're not going to get an email saying, hey, congratulations, you signed up for your EIN number. None, nada, zilch. I ain't getting none of it. And I can only imagine that you'll have to go back through the IRS website or have to go through some different like system to try to get that number that you applied for. So just make sure you're documenting your stuff. 3. I registered my business name with my state. So if you're in Florida and you're operating a business under a name that isn't your actual name, you need to register it. You can go to the Sunbiz website under fictitious name registration and just get that whole process started. At this exact point in time, the fee is like $50, and you can add an extra $30 for a certification, and you can add, I think, an extra $10 for like an approval letter or something. But if you just want to keep it cheap and simple, it's just $50 plus whatever the taxes are going to be. The application process is fairly simple. You're going to fill out your information, you're going to fill out your business information, and it's going to ask you a couple of questions about your business. You know, what kind of business is it going to be, what kind of things you're going to sell. Once you filled out all that information, it's going to ask you to pay towards the end. Be sure you're saving copies, you're getting confirmation numbers, make sure that all your information is up to date and correct. You will get like a confirmation email for everything, but make sure you're saving a copy and printing copies for your files. We want to keep ourselves covered in this house. 4. I did my fictitious name publication. So this is a requirement for Florida businesses, as far as I understand, where you have to make a publication in your local newspaper or an article just stating that, hey, I'm a business, this is my business details, and I plan on doing business in the area. That's like the gist that I got from it. So here's a teensy tiny little problem I have with that. As I was doing the fictitious name application, like my name Wallpaper for my business, phrasing in the application got me thinking that I could do the publication ahead of time. But when I found the resources to do the publication, it kept asking for a registration number with all of the other business details. And my first thought is, I don't have a registration number. What the heck? I do a little digging and come to find out that that registration number that they're asking for is the registration number you get after you register your business name. I don't know, maybe I was just having a slow moment, but that wording was very weird for me. I went back, did the fictitious name application, and then once I got that registration number, I went to I think the website's like DBA compliance, but it's Florida specific. So again, look up what you need for your specific area. I just went to the website. It asked for like my business information, just like, oh, like your name, the owner's information and the business information. And then when it got to that registration number, it was able to pull some of that information already. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's what it meant. 5, I had to pay for something called a business tax receipt. So in order to do business in my local area, I have to pay a local business tax. Once that tax is paid, I will receive a receipt, which is proof that I have paid those taxes. And that will cover me for about an entire year. And this is something that I will have to pay every single year. I want to say this is something Florida specific or maybe county or state specific, so be sure to do your own research on what your requirements are, because I'm gonna tell you right now, when I was looking for the specifics, this didn't even come up until I really dug in. It was like, oh, what are the specifics? What are the requirements? Do I need something tax specific for my business? And this popped up and I was like, oh, well, okay then, I guess I have another thing I need to worry about. Yes, it will cost money. You have to pay your taxes. I'm going to operate out of the assumption that at least for Florida businesses, depending on like your area, your county, your region, it's gonna be a different price. So I don't wanna say a specific price and then you go in thinking that you're paying that price. To find the website to pay your local business tax, I typed in tax receipt plus whatever your county is, and that should give you the website for your area. Once you get that website, at least for my specific area, it asked me to make a business tax account. Once that account application process was done, all I had to do was just fill out the information about my business. You're gonna want that registration number, you're gonna want your EIN number, and you're going to want any other information that pertains to your business to fill out that application. Once the application process is done, at least for my county, I didn't have to pay anything up front. It had to go off to an approval process first, and then once it was approved, it gave me the amount that I had to pay in my local business tax. 6, I set up an income and expense tracker. Get into the habit of tracking everything. You want to make sure that you are reporting all of your income and your expenses accurately. The sooner you set up a little system to track everything, the better. This will also help with paying quarterly taxes because I can easily go back to each month and see how much I've made and how much I've spent so that I can calculate those payments properly. So these are a few things I've done to make sure that my business is good to operate in Florida. Please make sure that you look up what your specific state needs, because every state's requirements are going to be just ever so slightly different. If you got any value out of this video, be sure to subscribe for more art and art business related content, and I'll see you in the next video.